All right, welcome to another great episode of Framing New Heights. My name is Michael Hicks. I am your host the most today. Before I get into our details as far as what the podcast is all about and words from our sponsor, here we go. Unlock your true full potential with Live to Thrive Life Coaching. Are you ready to transform your life just one step at a time? Now is the perfect time to do that, to gain some momentum before the new year. At Live to Thrive, we believe in the power of small, consistent improvements. Key word being consistent. How consistent have you been recently with your goals? I did an entire podcast about goal setting. Make sure to check that out. Our unique framework focuses on becoming 1% better in mind, body, and soul every single day. What exactly do we offer? Well, thanks for asking. Offer the mind. It's where we develop a growth mindset. So important for your subconscious, while it enhances your mental clarity and conquer challenges with self-confidence and self-esteem. Body, you want published ebooks, nutritional-based ebooks. I have 3 that are ready to go for you, over 26 to 27 pages in length. And I also got a dessert menu, which is magnificent. And you can embrace that healthy lifestyle with getting workouts sent directly to your phone or maybe your email. And then you also want to boost that energy level, right? Play with your kids a little bit longer instead of when you get home laying on the couch, vegging out, right? This really allows you to achieve those fitness goals that you've been looking for. And lastly, purpose, which I call soul. Discover your true full purpose, cultivate inner peace, and live a fulfilling, balanced life. As a dedicated life coach, relationship coach, and mindset coach of nearly 25 years, I can guide you on a journey to personal excellence, helping you overcome obstacles and reach for those new heights. Together, we'll create a customized plan tailored to your unique needs and aspirations. So guess what? Join Live to Thrive today and start living your best purposeful life. To get a free consultation or to get on my schedule, you can go to www.livetothrive.com, or you can strictly go into the description page in this podcast here. Unlock better sleep and pain relief with CBD oil. And guess what? It's Amish tested. If you're struggling with sleepless nights, in fact, I was just in the gym recently, like I usually am, 5 to 6 days a week, and just hearing a conversation. And I heard this gentleman say, I just didn't sleep well, so I got up and I watched TV. Emoji, right? Hands on the emoji. So guess what? These sleepless nights, they don't have to be anymore. This product, the CBD oil, tested and it's trusted in the Amish community, is a solution for number one, natural relief and restful nights. If you are a Framing New Heights listener, as you're listening right now, you can get 50% off at checkout just by going into I'll get to the website here in a second, but the promo code is New Heights. And why choose the CBD oil? Well, as I stated, it's Amish tested, which is proven quality and effectiveness. Here's the next best sleep. You need to sleep. Without sleep, we have higher risk of heart disease. So say goodbye to those restless nights and hello to peaceful slumber. And what I've really realized, the older that I've gotten, is sleep is so critical for us. Lastly, pain relief. How many of you have those aches and pains? Soothe those aches and pains naturally and effectively. So don't miss out. You can go to that website, which is envitamins.com. Use promo code, all caps, New Heights at checkout and claim 50% off your discounted price. Only with Framing New Heights community, you can start living a pain-free and well-rested night's sleep. Well, you guys are ready? I'm going to bring on my guest right now. She is one of your favorites, and she's one of my favorites, probably the favorite. I will bring her on, and you all know her as Amber Dobson. Amber, come on over. Welcome again to the podcast.
Oh, wow, that's close.
Is that close? Yeah, no, we're up front. We're right in the front now. Okay.
Okay.
Kind of like where we were on Friday to see the Chris Tomlin concert, right? So we got an interesting, fun topic today that we're super excited to talk about because it created some serious dialogue, and there's so many ways that we can go about this, and it's about childhood obesity, right?
Yeah.
So we recently were having a conversation, and we were talking about, well, first of all, before I even get into that, so for those of you that are catching the actual video, you might see these like scrapes and like bumps all on my forehead.
Because these are cluts.
No.
Yeah.
So listeners, please listen to me on this. So I was grilling last night, and she thinks a art piece of a porcupine is critical.
It's not a porcupine.
It's
First of all,
Can you get it and show the people what the piece is? Because I should have brought it. It's literally a porcupine that's at head level. Now she's short. She's shorter in stature than I am. So I go in and out, right? I have my outside shoes on, and I come back in and I put my inside shoes on, and I put my inside shoes close to the door. And not only did I hit it one time, y'all, it was like 3 times.
And it made this loud bang.
And I was not happy. How was my reaction? I was a little pissed.
You took it off the wall.
I did. I took it off the wall. So if you want to see, I don't know if you guys can see. You can see right here, and then there's like this, it's not a tuma right over here. It's always backwards on the screen. So yeah. So apologies if you see extra bumps on my forehead. That's because Amber has these wonderful textures of what she calls art that are actually could be used for intruder. Like, I get it. Like,
well, maybe that's why I have it.
Maybe that's why you have it, but don't hurt me. I felt like anyway. So if you only catching this on the audio, check out the video. It's on YouTube as well. So let's jump in. Let's jump in on this awesome subject. It really got me fired up. Number one, let me kind of give a little bit of background about me.
Yeah, I think
why this is really, really important. So childhood obesity is something. First of all, let me explain. My undergrad work that I did was I was physical fitness, physical education, taught health for many, many years in the school systems, and worked as a manager, personal trainer. Now I incorporate all of that stuff that I learned into my own business, which is Live to Thrive. And childhood obesity is a really scary thing because the holidays are coming up, right?
But you also work around here with kids every day.
Yes. And that's the important piece too, is the ability to, like, water. Like, everybody thinks it's weird that I carry around a gallon of water a day. Like, my goal is, I don't always get there, but I always drink. My goal is a gallon. Thank you.
Oh, I didn't think that's where you were going with the water.
Oh, that's.
I thought you were like going to talk about how you're watering like a garden, and it starts with children, and how you have to teach them like the rules of eating and health, and how if they don't learn from a young age, the problems will persist as they.
And it's critical. Here's a well, to tie in with that, like, the majority of our diets, y'all, should be water. And don't men that say, oh, there's water in beer, that's false. That's not good for you. You're poisoning your body. I'm just flat out going to tell you, you're poisoning your body. Here's a crazy statistic. I want to start out the podcast with this. In the US, 1 in 5 children, that's about 21% from age 6 to 19, are affected by obesity. And this is, if you like this statistic or you don't, it is by the CDC. Some people like CDC, some people don't, but there are some statistics out there that we can really hone in on. But this whole topic came about is like, what if you're in the fitness realm, kind of like I am? My life is very fit oriented. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah.
And I'm really cognizant of what I put in my body most of the times. I won't tell anybody, but I'm going to tell you guys. I did finish a gallon of ice cream the other night. It was eggnog. So I do go off the deep end sometimes, and then I pay the price the next day. So I don't always do that, but sometimes I do. I just wanted to put that in context for a second. And so we have, like, what are you going to do when you have a particular set of guidelines and rules? For example, in the Hicks household, McDonald's is seen as a plague. And when I say plague, and many of you that are listening are like, wow, why? Well, if you were to survey 100 nutritionists, 100 of them would say never eat there, even if it's a zombie apocalypse, because of the nutritional value that's in foods. And if you don't believe me, as a long-term educator in this realm, find it yourself. You can YouTube this stuff. It will come up. It'll show you. But the question is like how, when you see these kids that are enormously big in stature, can you blame the parents? Like, where does that start?
Okay. Well, you asked a lot of questions there. So I think we need to start. Well, let's talk about access to food. Now, I don't think everyone has the same access to food.
Yeah, I know where you're going with this. So you're saying there is what is called a healthy drought in the inner cities.
I think there's disparity related to socioeconomic status.
Yeah, and I will absolutely agree with that.
And so let's just put it in perspective. We have access to transportation. Okay. Where are grocery stores? They're usually where you have to drive, right? Or you have to take a bus. So you have to either have a vehicle or you have to pay to take a bus, right? Okay. Mm-hmm. So if you live in an inner city and you don't have the income to do that, you walk to a corner store, a bodega, or a junk store, right? A gas station, and you fill up on dense food that makes you feel full in the moment to get you through your hunger cravings. Chips, soda, empty nutrients. That's cheap and it's filling, and it will.
Well, it's not filling. Let's be clear. It's short-term self-gratification at the moment. And it's survival of the fittest. Let's just be honest.
That's education though, right?
Yeah.
Families aren't getting that education in those moments to know that.
So let me ask you this. So since the 70s, 1970s to be exact, if you went to a beach and you saw the individuals that were on a beach and you then fast forwarded to where we are now.
Right.
So you're saying, from what you just said, social and economic status contributes to obesity is what I'm understanding.
It's one reason.
Okay. So literally you can walk on a beach and be in good shape and people will turn and stare at you like you're the misfit. However, I see this so much, even at water parks. Like, how many of you ever go to a water park and you just look and you like, I'm going to say this real quick, man, there's boys that can wear bras. Like, they literally got titties. And let me just say this, when we start with childhood obesity, these poor kids, they're getting made fun of. They can barely move.
Well, it's like, where does that start, right? So it starts at home.
Yeah.
So when you said, who do you blame? Well, I don't know that you blame, but it is really cause and effect, right? If you do a simple Google of what causes childhood obesity, the first thing that comes up, like you said, before you even Googled it, is calories in and calories out.
Calorie deficiency,
when any of us, and children included, you have to be cognizant of what you're feeding your kids. You don't, as parents, just allow your kids all day long to just eat whatever they want.
Yeah. Well,
or maybe you do. I mean, there are some days where it's just open here.
That's very rare, though. I think holidays are okay. I will say this. I still, even in that same context, there still should be protein on the plate. Let's just be honest. If you ask adults, they don't know what protein is. They'll probably say mashed potatoes are protein.
No.
Oh, I guarantee if you were to survey 10 individuals, 10 adults, let's even talk about especially a parent that has a child that is obese. You think they have any context of, one, how to eat, two, how to move their body, what a nutrient is? Do you think that?
No.
They don't, because if they did, I will say this. Parents, and I hope this may be the soundbite that I use. Parents, you're the problem. You're the problem. And I'm going to go out on this too. You should be apprehended if you don't know how to take care of your body and you don't know how to take care of your kids. You bring kids into this world.
Yeah, it's not the kid's fault.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's your fault. But you got another fat kid. Fat parents breed fat kids. Look at the statistic. It's out there. Not only that, then you talk about increased risk of type 2 diabetes.
You know, he gets real fired up about this. And I think, and it just kind of hit me, it's hard for me so I'm a social worker. You guys all know this. I'm a social worker innately. My career is shifting, but that's what I am. And so it's hard when he goes in so deep on this. But why it's so hard is because I have this deep empathy for these kids. That my daughter was telling me a story the other day about how she's in middle school and this overweight kid always gets picked on. But what does he do to defend himself? He fights, and he gets called fat ass. So he gets violent, and he has no other way to stick up for himself. And
he does have other ways.
Well, I'm sure he does, but what are his parents doing to help him get through this? Like, his parents now have led him to a place where he's 12, 13, 14 years old, and he's moving into he's a teen and moving into his adult life where it's just going to be harder to change. So I also think about my son, who is a larger, huskier boy, and he's active, but we just had a talk the other night. Like, no, you need to be done. You're done eating for the day. Like, it's done.
So set up boundaries is what you're saying.
Like, I know you ate enough today to sustain you.
Yeah.
Like, you're okay. Or if you want to eat more, you can go have a cucumber. You can go have more grape. Like, you can have fruits and vegetables. You can have as many fruits and vegetables as you want for the rest of time.
Yeah.
But no more cheese, no more chips, no more this. You can keep eating all the fruits and veggies you want. Like, that's it.
I got so many things from that perspective. Parents, here's a really simple, easy test. I'm going to give you 2 easy tests to whether or not your kid should be calorie restricted. Number 1, can they sit down on the floor and cross their legs? The old school crisscross applesauce.
Ooh, that's a good one.
That's number 1. Number 2, take your hands. For those of you that are catching the video here, you put them underneath your armpits. Can they sit down on their bottom and then get back up on their bottom without using their hands? I use these as simple methods and simple tests. So if and when I have a conference with a parent, then I can have these discussions on where they are on the spectrum of obesity.
If they can't do that, what does that mean?
Well, that's just a sign that they're overweight. If you cannot literally cross your legs as anywhere from a kindergarten, well, that's more of an abdominal test, but that's a great test. But parents that are listening here, maybe it doesn't even have to be parents. Maybe you're an aunt or uncle or somebody in the family is this then leads to high blood pressure, high cholesterol, and then later on it's diagnosed as obesity. And that's an adult disease. That's even prevalent now. Here's the thing. What upsets me, infuriates me, and we were having this discussion, this podcast is based in the United States. I pay for fat people health insurance. Mm-hmm. I can be the most healthiest person. In fact, when I went in for my surgery, they were so shocked at the time that I had such a low resting heart rate. They were amazed. There was a talk of all the nurses. Why does that have to be the talk? Where it should be, wow, take a really good hit. I had questions. Were you a former athlete? Are you an athlete? I was 50 years old. Yeah, I was a has-been athlete. Now I'd still take care of my body. I think I look better than most 20-year-olds nowadays, but that's irrelevant. My point to all of that is why does being healthy have to be like a big conversation? Like we turn a blind eye to people that can't even walk up a flight of stairs.
Yeah.
That is this is something, you guys, that is extremely passionate about me because it takes so much self-discipline. Let me say this really quick and then I want to turn it over to you. What's in your refrigerator? Is soda in your refrigerator when you open it up? Do you have a lot of packaged goods in your cart when you're shopping and put in your cabinet at home? Like, what are you drinking during the course of the day? Challenge you for a week. Drink a gallon of water a day, 1 day, each day. That's your goal. Don't drink anything else. Now, this is flavored. For those of you that catch it, it's those meals. So I kind of treat myself that way.
I'm gonna
go
against that a bit. Not the water. Water's great. Like everyone needs to be drinking more water. I don't think, and this is my opinion, and we love each other and we can have different opinions on this. I don't think that life has to be so restrictive.
Oh, it's not rigid. I get it.
No. And I think that people can enjoy things, and Michael's saying he can too, but you have to figure out and have some type of boundaries and balance in your life. So if you're going to have dessert or allow your kids to, I'm just going to say it, have McDonald's Happy Meals on occasion. If you do, you do. But you need to make sure your kids move their bodies. You need to be sure that your kids know that that's not something that should be eaten regularly. Your kids should know that eating at home is better than eating out. Your kids should know, like you said, what nutrients are.
Yeah.
They
should know what a protein is. They should know what a carbohydrate is.
They should know what a green vegetable is.
Mm-hmm. That's really, really important. And some people will say, well, I still go to McDonald's and I'm still in good shape. Just because how you look on the outside doesn't dictate how you are healthy, though. You can go eat crap food. You're still putting that's not even nutrients. It's a chemical made in a factory that they don't even know what these French fries are. And if you don't believe me, do a YouTube. Go on YouTube. Do a tutorial on that. And I want to go in on this too. Not only do kids get made fun of, later on they deal with joint issues. We've got kids that they can't run because they're so big, their knees hurt. That's sad. And they're like 8 or 10 years old, right? Sleep apnea. And then the excuse is, I got asthma. And then the parents feed into that. I don't care if you got asthma. You can run. Yeah. And then here's the issue. Here's the crazy statistic here, you guys. 70% of obese children remain obese as adults.
That's what I was saying. Like, it doesn't get easier. 70%, that's a huge.
And that's chronic. That's a chronic illness.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then everybody's like, well, let's have universal health care. No, let's have universal take care of yourself care.
Yeah.
No one can you have these hands that are putting crap and shit in your mouth. Yeah. You can hire me. I'll come over and slap the shit out of you for putting that in your mouth. Like, get it out of your face. Like, we were having this discussion, like, okay, well, not everybody in the family is always really healthy, right? And the holidays are coming, and like, I was having this discussion. I was like, well, what if we see somebody that is maybe not super healthy and maybe they're on the spectrum of obesity or type 2 diabetes, and then you see what they're putting in their body. I struggle with that, and I judge them. I'm like, well, that might be a thing that I got to deal with internally. I
think your judgment comes from a place of concern. So I do think, depending on like the family or the friends, like maybe asking questions is like a good place to start. Like, hey, like, how are you guys doing? I see so-and-so, or like maybe starting with like something you see positively. Like, oh, I see that like you have been.
Eat some vegetables today. Good job. You give a pound.
Or I see, or so-and-so tells me that you've been walking more or something like that, or I don't know.
Well, let's
to get the conversation started is what I'm saying. Instead of going sometimes just going in is going to kind of pull people back. Like, whoop, I'm out.
Well, I think parents, you have to set the tone. Our kids will watch more than they'll listen. There's days where I don't have enough time in the course of the day. I wake up extra early before I got to take my daughter to school. And I go downstairs on my spin bike. I don't have much time. I got 30 minutes. Sleep is important to me. I allocate that as well. But I make sure I burn like 400 or 500 calories to start my day. And in some cases, it's almost 1,000. But I generally like to start my regimen before the course of the day. Parents, people, adults, you're the issue. You're handing the baton on. What kind of role model are your parent? Are you as a parent? And not only obesity, Amber, is mental health.
Yeah.
And this is why I have so many clients, they have mental health issues in the sense of low self-esteem, anxiety, overthinking, depression. Like we can just name the gamut. And
well, it's these kids, and kids are just brutal.
Oh, I know.
They are brutal, and
I know.
They are relentless. And it's already so hard being a kid, and it doesn't help. And I read this, that the prepubescent years are the years that your body stores fat, because they're gearing you up for puberty.
Yep.
So you're already going through these awkward years where you're going to be quote unquote bigger than you normally are until you reach puberty, because then you start growing rapidly.
Yeah.
So you're already awkward. Now you add on a very unhealthy diet, a sedentary lifestyle. So that's adding on to that too. Plus, kids are figuring themselves out, saying things they don't mean. Maybe they do mean them. It's just a very bad time in life. And then mental health now is huge, and suicide rates, depression, it's awful. All things that,
but
lots of things that could be prevented.
Well, happiness, you guys, everybody's like, oh, I want my kids to be happy.
No, you want them to be healthy.
Yeah. If you can start with that being, because here's the thing, if they are not healthy, they're going to get bullied, right? Then they're going to be they're going to want to isolate, they're not going to want to perform and be around other people, so really be mindful of parents. You are the example. I see grown ass men that are dads with distended bellies that look like they're pregnant. Look at me. Seek help. If it's not me, go find somebody else. You're not even showing your kids you're disciplined. You're disciplined by sitting on a couch, watching football and drinking a beer and eating chips. Then why do you have issues? Why do you have depression? Why do you have anxiety? Why are you the dad that's always irritated? That's disgusting. You have one chance in this life, one time to raise a kid correctly. And granted, we fail all the time with raising kids. Is it good? Is it bad? How we do it? Read books. There's no magical formula, but it does. I think the one magical formula that we can talk about is, how are you disciplined with your health? I think that's an important aspect, and nutrition is absolutely critical to all of that. And you had talked about how many kids, like, I could have a conversation, and this was a little bit, this was tough for me too, as we were blending families. Is there's stuff that I see that Amber's kids eat that I have a discussion with my kid about, well, we won't do that. But that's how I just am a little bit more disciplined, because I see firsthand for the years of experience, and health is better than money, y'all. Health or wealth? Which one do you want? People say, I want money. Okay, cool. I'll give you $1 million today. Would you take it? Oh, of course, you'd take it, right?
Yeah.
But if I said you cannot wake up tomorrow, but I'll give you $1 million today, would you take it? Nope. You want to live. My point is, your health is more important. You could have a billionaire on his deathbed waiting to just live another day, to spend some time with their family or whatever it might be. No money can buy a body. So it starts with self-discipline, your diet. What's in you talk about, I think moderation is important. I do. We had a party, we did a Santa Claus party, a couple weeks ago already, and last week, and Nola was like, Dad, can I have, she always asked me, you can have a cookie. We didn't have the healthiest choices of food. However, we did have some protein, right? Yeah. So I think that's important. There's a balance, right? A balance. If you're frequently going to McDonald's because you're a lazy parent, you're the problem.
Yeah, and I'll agree with that. And I think too, it's not cheaper. I'm just going to say that, because as someone who does have to be cautious of spending as a mother that is alone with her kids half of the time, I do watch what I spend, and going out to dinner is something we do. We don't go, but going to somewhere like Culver's, that's a lot of money. So McDonald's isn't that much cheaper. It is cheaper to pack a lunch, or when we go on a road trip, we were supposed to travel yesterday. I pack snacks in the car. We might stop if we get gas, and they might get a treat or something, but we don't stop for meals. Generally, we pack snacks. We pack things in the car.
It's interesting is parents planning that, right? Like if you're going on a road trip, I love what you said there. You packed healthy snacks. Have that prepared. I'll give you a quick story here, because
then you don't have to worry about what they're eating. They can eat it all, but it's
a healthier choice too. Is my daughter knows that I'll joke around. We go up to a McDonald's. I'll be like, hey, let's go to eat here. She'll be, Dad, no, we're not going there, Dad, no. Like literally, you could ask Amber. We're totally against McDonald's and everything it stands for. Okay. So if I get banned for this podcast for saying that, so be it. Okay. However,
Mike could see McDonald's. Not with me, but they have.
So I want to talk about that. So we had a discussion about that, and it irritated me because I love her kids. I feel as a parent, you truly don't love your kids if you're feeding them fast food all the time, right? McDonald's, Culver's. I think it's a context of, again, how disciplined are you? What's important to you? Yes. Do things come up? Is it busy? I get it. I'm a parent. I get it. We do Culver's. Like it'll be a grilled cheese and like applesauce. And I get it. Is Culver's the best choice either? Probably not. It's probably not. It's probably on the same spectrum. I would put McDonald's and Culver's probably. I get it. I do get it. My point to all of that is, so my daughter, they were on a road trip. They were going somewhere, and they stopped at McDonald's. And then her mom got her food, and Noah's like, Dad tells me all the time how bad this is, and I don't want to eat it. Well, she felt obligated because her parent gave it to her, and Mom gave it to me, so I got to eat it, So after she came back to with me, and then we had a discussion. So it was my job as a parent to provide nutritional education, right? How important that is. So Mom, Dad, hey, can we just pack a peanut butter sandwich next time before we go? I don't want McDonald's. Now, maybe it's just orange juice, right? Maybe it's something like that. So I think parents need to do a better job of advocating, especially split home parents, because one parent might think McDonald's is okay, which tells me, number one, lack of education, right? And number two, it's our job then as a parent to supply information. Like, for example, I showed my daughter about the hot dogs. Remember the hot dog situation?
Well, I think you can insert McDonald's with anything here. If you, as a parent, don't think that having, I don't know, food with red dye in it is
Red 40.
Red 40 is good for your children. Insert red dye where we're putting McDonald's, right? Like,
I agree.
I think I don't want to get too focused on the McDonald's part here, because that's not actually what we're talking about. We're talking about childhood obesity. So I want to take that out of the equation a little bit for this, and really focus on educating your children about whatever the issue or challenge they might come across is. And as they grow, they might still engage in those things, because our kids aren't with us 100% of the day. They are with friends, they are at camps, they are in school, they are with their other parents, with their families, with their cousins, right? So, but they will learn because they hear us, and maybe someday it'll click.
Yeah.
Like it sounds it has for your daughter.
Yeah. And I want to just say this to parents: you're the issue. Men, do you take your shirt off at the swimming pool? Or you're embarrassed to walk around with your shirt off in front of your kids? What discipline are you setting? You tell them not to do something, but you don't even know simple discipline. So parents, this falls on us. It falls on us as a parent. If we don't lead by example, I think we really struggle. That's why I think movement is really, really important.
Yes.
And 24% of children from the ages of about 6 to 17 engage in the recommended 60 minutes of daily physical activity. 24%. That's like 75% of our society as kids that are struggling immensely because they don't know how to move their body. That's scary and sad. Screen time, right? Just what do parents do nowadays? Because it's easy. Here's a phone. Here's a tablet. It's easy.
Well, instead, it's just perspective. Instead, set that tablet up with a movement game. Like, there are creative ways to still get your shit done as a parent, and set your children up with a tablet with an interactive, engaging way to get their body moving. My sister has 6 kids. She's busy. She puts things on the screen, but has her children jumping and dancing. Yeah. Like, there are ways to do these things.
And I think you do a really good job of this. Is she's one of her children loves just a sports fanatic, and it could be we were having this conversation. You're like, is it too cold to have them outside? And for most of you, we had a pretty cold streak here. It was like probably negative in the windshields, probably like single digits for outside, but they were playing outside and being active. Like, find a day. Like, sometimes our kids don't even get physical movement in school. They get these 10 to 15 minute breaks of recess. That's not enough.
No.
It needs to be rigorous. Rigorous. Do you know what rigorous means? That means getting your heart rate to a high. Yeah. Whatever it might be. Yeah. Does it suck after you work a full day of work? And a lot of parents will say this: I have to do this. I have to do this. No, you get to. And you do such a good job of that. You are always outside, moving around with the kids and playing. Maybe it's playing catch with the football. Maybe it's shooting buckets. Maybe it's playing kickball, whatever it might be. I think it's really, really important to see our kids and give them that opportunity. Don't you agree?
Yeah. I even talked to my daughter. She has the option in middle school to stay in for after lunch or go outside. And she decided, and we talked about this, to go outside. and to get fresh air. And I said, walk with your friends. You don't get to see your friends sometimes in school. So she's like, yeah, we're going to go walk and like have our talks and stuff. So it's like, yes, get the tent, like move around for 10 minutes, like get outside, even if it's cold, like just do it. Yeah.
So parents, this is a big one. Prep your food, right? Encourage your prep meals. You hit it earlier really well. Cook at home.
It has to be fancy.
No, it doesn't. And then, when you can sit at the table together too, and I don't know how many parents, like you really got to work on that. That's a big one. Every day that I get the chance with my daughter, we're always sitting at the table. And that's one time we'll always have together. That's really, really important. Parents, I want to say this. When you go shopping, grocery shopping, do you look at the nutritional labels? I guarantee I could pull 10 people. 9 out of 10 would say they don't. They don't. So you're the issue. And I'll be honest with you. I'm excited for the new transition period for, I forgot what that title's called, for nutrition, the nutrition person that's coming in. But the majority of these individuals and the majority of that stuff that's in some of this food is not even acceptable in other countries because it's poison. Majority of the stuff that's in grocery stores is poison.
Yeah.
And I always, this is probably an issue that I have again, but I will go grocery shopping and I see someone that's extremely overweight and obese. And then the best part is they're in one of those electronic vehicles. And then I look at their grocery cart. I pay for them to be like that. I struggle with that immensely.
You do.
Because it's like no self-discipline, self-gratification. If you continue that whole circle, success never happens. It just doesn't happen. So it goes down to all those things that I talked about. And then also maybe for the new year, you come up with some family goals. Maybe it's something that you're maybe out of the 7 days of the week, you're going to eat home 6 days. You know what I mean?
I have that in, like, I wouldn't say it's a goal, but it's in my mind that with the kids that we are only doing one. I mean, you're not wrong. Like, life gets busy, especially on weekends.
Weekdays. Well, for weekend, I mean,
weekends for me,
for you,
when we're running between multiple basketball games, we sometimes aren't home the whole day. So from morning till like 5 p.m. So we do eat out. But then the next day I'll be like, we're not eating out today. So it's just that.
There's one thing I want everybody to take this down as well. And I got to do a better job of this. There's no good food and bad, right? Instead, I do. I realize that you need to really emphasize on balance and moderation, right? Mm-hmm. I have balance.
You do.
As I talked about earlier, I bought eggnog ice cream. It was a quart, or maybe it was a gallon.
It wasn't a gallon. It was a quart.
Oh, she's sticking up for me. That's good. I thought it was a gallon. But I love my eggnog. I do. We made these cool avalanche cookies that we found on, I think it was on TikTok or whatever it might have been. And we made them. Those Rice Krispies, marshmallows, chocolate chips, white chocolate chips, butterscotch, and peanut butter. Really good. And they're in moderation. I think we deserve to have that, but here's something I want to leave with us before we end, unless you have anything else to add, are you ready for this? Adults, you should not have more than 25 grams to 30 grams of sugar a day. That's even a lot. Most nutritionists would even think that's a lot. Sugar is so symptomatic and correlated to the big C word, cancer. Sugar, it's in yogurt. It's sometimes in all of our foods. That's why I talked about it earlier, to really be mindful of nutritional labels.
Even like sauces, like marinara sauces,
Yeah.
where you
It's
think
everywhere.
it's not. Yeah, it is. I mean, I think, just closing thoughts, that you always say this, like, small changes lead to big changes.
Yeah.
And so it doesn't, I think, in anything in life, you don't have to make these like big life changes, because they're not attainable.
Agreed.
You will fail.
Agreed.
You will fail.
Yep.
It's very small. It's just changing your like a couple of things in your grocery shopping habits. It's going out to eat one day less a week. It's really small things. It's having conversations with your kids so that they start to retain the information to better themselves, to make their own choices as they get older, and maybe educate their friends.
Yeah, that's big. I mean, we lack health education in the school system these days. So many people say we lack financial education, which is all true. It's all true. So for those of you that say those things, help us find funding for those issues, right? Like, there's schools that don't have health teachers. So guess who has to teach it? A non-qualified teacher. They have to teach it. So come with my final note, my final takeaway for everybody. What is your plan? What's the plan? First, you have your why. You begin with your why. And then how is it going to be implemented? Then use the SMART acronym, right? How can you achieve it? How can you measure it? How can you...
Specific.
Yeah, specific, measurable,
action-oriented, realistic, and time.
And if you don't do those, Amber said it well, you fail. Here's a crazy statistic. Like 73% of individuals on New Year's, they're like, oh, new me, new year. They fail. You know why? They just got a membership at the gym, thinking that's going to solve the whole issue. Not going to. Oh, I need momentum. All right. They always say, I need motivation. There's days I go to the gym and I fucking hate it. I did. I said it. I hate it, but it's discipline. Discipline created momentum for me. And then the consistency keeps going in place. Nothing's going to change overnight.
It's really about consistency. And it's about consistency and how you eat too.
Yeah, 100%.
I don't work out every day, but I'm consistent each week.
Yeah, that's 3 or 4 days a week. Amber works out. Mine's usually an average of 5. I used to be 6, but I realized at my age, it's sometimes rest is a little bit more important. So, all right. Thank you all for listening. Thank you for subscribing. Season 3. This is episode number 2 of season 3. Thank you so much for listening to Framing New Heights podcast. My name is Michael Hicks, with my co-host today, Amber Dobson. As always, 1% better in mind, body, and soul. Stay flexed.